Good afternoon and welcome to today's program, Dealing with Stress with Dr. Robert Gilbert. I'm Karen Hackett, Associate Director, Alumni Engagement. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today. It's great to have so many alumni and friends with us. I want to note that you play such an important role in our future. You can be involved in so many ways. You can mentor students, speak in a class, or attend an event to build your network. And I also want to note how thankful we are for your support of our students during this challenging time. Recently, we participated in Giving Tuesday Now. You helped us raise nearly $20,000 in much needed support for two important initiatives, Student Emergency Fund and the Mix Lab, which produced PPE masks for frontline healthcare workers locally. Again, we're grateful for your support. And if you haven't already, please join the new Montclair Connect online community. This new platform allows you to flash mentor a student, and it's a great way to connect with fellow alumni, a network of 130,000. So you can learn all about the benefits available to you too. So check your inbox for that invitation to join that network, and also check for our weekly email on Mondays, which highlights upcoming events, performances, lectures. So it's my pleasure to welcome our presenter today, Dr. Robert Gilbert. Some of you may remember Dr. Gilbert from your time as a student. He is an associate professor of exercise science and physical education here at the university, and he's been here since 1979. So just some housekeeping. We'll reserve the end of the call for Q&A. You can use your Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Please grab a pen and paper for an exercise during the program. And as a reminder, the event is being recorded. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Gilbert.
Thank you very much, Karen. It's a pleasure to do a program like this, especially for alumni, and especially during this very unique event in our lives. What I'd like to do today is to go over some research, more recent research on stress and how detrimental, how deleterious it is to our health. But I'd like to start with the following question. And this question is, how much longer can you stand me talking like that? So did I cause some stress in your life just by that little boring introduction? So notice, so what's the purpose of that? Do you realize, when I was going through that boring introduction, do you realize there was a little voice in your mind that said something like, oh no? And some of you might even checked out. So do you realize there's a little voice in your mind? So here's the first question. Do you realize there's a little voice in your mind? And if some little voice said there's no little voice up here, that's the little voice I'm talking about. We all have this little voice in our mind. So almost instantly, did the little voice in your mind say something like, oh my God, this is horrible. Why is he so boring? Where's the energy, So is there a little voice in your mind? And when I asked you that question, if some little voice said, there's no little voice up here, that's the little voice we're talking about. And this is a major cause of stress. This little voice in our mind that talks to us over and over and over again. If you want to know other causes of stress, WWOPT and WWOPS. What will other people think and what will other people say? And how much does our little voice come into that? But this is not a theoretical presentation. This is going to be takeaway things. And I think this is the most important class I teach at Montclair State, because this class saves lives. Hopefully today I will give you some life-saving tools, because I know these tools have saved my life. So, but before we get to that, let's as Karen said, let's play a little game. And by the way, if there's ever any questions, just interrupt me anytime. So get a piece of paper and a pen. And what I'd like you to do is we're going to give you a little exercise to do. So let me give you a little fantasy. Suppose for some reason you want to be a Navy SEAL. And for the last 4 days, you've been taking all the physical tests and you've crushed them. I mean, you came in top of the class. You run farther, you do more push-ups, more pull-ups, you're better in the water, you do everything great, and you're on your way to be a Navy SEAL. And they say, well, before you leave, we have one more test. It's a psychological test. What we want you to do in 20 seconds, and I'll give you what the test is right now. So I want you to get into that mindset of, if you could pass this 20-second test, you get your dream, you're a Navy SEAL. So here's the test. I will say, ready, set, go. In 20 seconds, I want you to draw as many triangles as you possibly can. You know, don't start yet. So a triangle looks like this, okay? That's a triangle. That's a triangle, that's a triangle. They could be big triangles, they could be little triangles, but the whole test is to draw as many triangles as you can in 20 seconds. Okay, ready? All psyched up? Appropriate amount of stress? Okay, ready? On your mark, get set, go. Five, four, three, two, one, stop. Now, I've done this test enough times to know that your score is probably between 12, and I think the highest score I've ever gotten is 42. If you got more than 42, I want to meet you. But whatever your score is, the people with the Navy SEALs, they look at your score and they say, yeah, your score, you know, you're well above average, but unfortunately, you have to get a score of 80 to get into the Navy SEALs. And even if you got a 40 or 50, you're not even close. Even if you got a 60, you're not even close. So you're crestfallen. You're upset. I mean, you had on the physical test, you did so well. And they say, well, here's the only thing. You did so well on the physical test is we'll give you 2 days off and come back in 2 days and we'll retest you. So you go home and you're telling all your friends about your experience and how bad it was, how good it was and how bad it was. And then one of your friends says, hey, I heard there's a guy that teaches sports psychology at Montclair State, and he's the world's leading expert on drawing triangles. So you get in touch with this weird guy, Gilbert at Montclair State, and he said, oh, sure, I'll help you. I've helped hundreds of people. Come to my office. So you come to my office, and I say, well, what's the problem? He said, well, you know, I'm only going to score of 12. I said, okay, you got to get a score of 80. I said, okay. He said, well, what do I have to do? I said, well, very simple. What do you think you have to do? And you're going to say, well, should I use a lighter pen? Should I make smaller triangles? I said, those are good ideas. But see, this whole thing isn't about improvement, it's about a breakthrough. So here's my suggestion. Rather than drawing these, what I want to train you to do is to draw these. Draw 5-pointed stars. So everybody, that's a 5-pointed star? So now, I want you to draw 5-pointed stars. Here's the technique. I want you to draw 1 5-pointed star per second for the next 20 seconds, okay? So all you have to do is 1 5-pointed star per second for the next 20 seconds. Okay, ready? 5-pointed stars, only 5-pointed stars. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. Five, four, three, two, one, stop. Now, don't count triangles, count 5-pointed stars. Okay, count 5-pointed stars. And I'm sure just about, based on previous experience, I'm sure just about everybody got, you know, at least 14 or 15 or 16. 16 would be the passing score. 20 would be amazing. 25 would be genius. So the whole point of that is notice, how did you have, well, just look at your initial score, then your second score. Look at the score when you had triangles. Look at the score when you had the 5-pointed star. So what did you increase? 200%? 300%, 400%, 500%, 600%. This is not improvement, it is breakthrough. You know, At my age 73, and being teaching for 40 years, I have no interest in teaching my students improvement techniques. I want to teach them breakthroughs. I mean, I don't want to teach them to get better. I want to teach them how to change the world. So today we're going to talk about life-changing techniques. I don't know why nobody ever taught me these things. I was at a crisis in my life when I was in graduate school. I just walked in on a kid committing suicide, and that's a little stress. And all of a sudden my world changed as it was. Everything about me changed that one event. And I went from cool, calm, and collected, laid back, fun-loving, to I was nervous all the time. I was nervous all the time. And I had to seek out psychologists, psychiatrists. And then I was taking a class and we had to write a paper. It was graduate school. You had to write a paper and there was a list of topics. And one of the topics was neuromuscular relaxation. Now, I didn't know what neuromuscular was, but I did know what relaxation was. So I immediately signed up for that. And through that, I was introduced to the techniques of Dr. Edmund Jacobson from Chicago. And it changed my life. And what changed my life? I instantly changed my life. And this might change your life. It's not what's happening around you. It's not what's happening to you. It's what's happening inside you that matters. It's not what's happening around you. It's not what's happening to you. It's what's happening inside you. Another way of saying that is E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. The event doesn't equal the outcome. The event plus the response equals the outcome. So it's not what's happening to you. It's how you respond to what's happening to you. So I thought this kid walking into him, slashing his wrists, I said, oh my God, that's ruining my life. No, it was my response to it. So you notice on a plane, some people get on a plane and they say, oh, I want to be by the window. I want to enjoy the view. And some people don't even want to be on the plane. But it's not the plane, it's your response to it. Now, we don't have too much time to change your life today. So I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about relaxation, and I don't want to talk about it. I want you to do it. And I want to talk about falling asleep. I know 40 to 50% of my students have trouble falling asleep. Now, here's what I don't understand. Think back on your college career. What percent of your grades when you were at Montclair State had to do with memorizing stuff? Now, I'm in the exercise science department, and I would say some of my students say 70, 80, 90% of the grade is based on memorization. Now, here's my question. In your whole career at Montclair State, in high school, in middle school, in grade school, did anybody ever teach you how to memorize? Did you ever have a class in memorization? Did you ever have one lecture in memorization? Did any teacher ever teach you anything about memorization? Most of my students, they had no training in memorization. But here it is, the key skill that will make or break memorization, nobody ever teaches you. Second thing, that's going to seem like a non sequitur. You are not going to die. That's the good news. You are not going to die. The bad news is you're going to kill yourself. And you know why you're going to kill yourself? Through stress-related diseases. Most things that kill us are stress-related diseases. Now, can you learn how to combat stress? Yes. But has anybody ever taught it to you? No. So that's what we're doing today. So the two of the most important things, memorization and relaxation, nobody touches them in school. Now, memorization, as you'll find out today, the thing they both have in common is imagination. If you want to memorize, you use your imagination. If you want to relax, you use your imagination. If you want to fall asleep, you use your imagination. See, here's the law of the mind. For short periods of time, your mind and body do not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. For short periods of time, your mind and body do not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So is that really true? See, over the years, I found that as a teacher, and right now you're being a student, you don't believe what I say, you only believe what you do. So let's see if this is really true. So what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes. And I just want to do a little exercise with you. I want you to play a mental movie. I just want you to imagine something. And a lot of us on the inside of our forehead, we have a movie screen. So you might see your movies on the inside of your forehead. So what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes and see yourself at your kitchen table or dining room table or any table. And right in front of you is a plate. And on the plate is a big, beautiful, juicy lemon. And on one side of the plate is a sharp knife. So what I want you to do is take the knife and cut the lemon in half. And the lemon is so juicy that when you start cutting, the juice just spurts up. Okay, now you have two halves. Now take one of the halves, hold on to it. Now cut the half into half. So you're going to be left with 2/4. Okay. Now take one of the quarters, take a quarter of a lemon and pick it up in one of your hands and put it in your mouth and bite down on it. And suck a lot of that lemony, tart, sour, lemony juice all over your tongue, all over your gums, all over your mouth. All that tart, oh, it's the most sour lemon. Okay. Now come out of the little scenario. Did you salivate? Did you salivate? Did you act as if there was a real lemon? So from doing this in classes, I would say 60 to 70% of the time, people say, yeah, I did salivate. So that just proves the point that if you wanted to people that salivated, for short periods of time, your mind and body don't know what's real and what's imagined because it wasn't a real lemon. It was an imagined lemon. It wasn't real. It was imagined. So, but I don't have to teach this to you. You have a nightmare and, some Tyrannosaurus Rex is chasing you and you wake up and your heart is racing and you're sweating and you're breathing hard. That was all your imagination. That wasn't really, really real. So this is really powerful. Psychosomatic disease, psycho mind, somatic body. Psychosomatic disease is when we use our mind and our body to create disease. So if there's something called psychosomatic disease, like ulcers or something, there's also psychosomatic health. You could use your mind and body to create health, not just create disease. Okay, let's get more definite about what we're talking about. First skill, or the first thing you really have to understand, and most people don't teach this in relaxation courses. One of the reasons, well, let's look at it this way. Let's look at your day today. You made yourself get out of bed. You made yourself breakfast. You made yourself get dressed. You made yourself go to your computer. You made yourself do this. You made yourself get here at 3 o'clock. And then if you have problems falling asleep, you try to make yourself fall asleep. Then if you get nervous or something, you try to make yourself relax. Here's the deal. This is important. You cannot make yourself relax. You can make yourself get out of bed. You can make yourself breakfast. You can make yourself get dressed. You can make yourself go to work. You cannot make yourself relax. You have to let yourself relax. It's a whole different system in your body. And this might be why you have problems falling asleep, because you try to make yourself fall asleep. Don't make yourself fall asleep. Let yourself fall asleep. Here's the beauty. It's effortless. Relaxation is effortless. If you're trying to do it, you're not doing it. You're trying too hard. Remember Yoda said to Luke in The Empire Strikes Back, do or do not, there is no try. You can't try to do it. Just release, relax, and let go. Release, relax, and let go. Let's practice letting right now. I imagine you're sitting in a chair, or you're lying in a bed, or you're on your sofa. Don't support yourself in the chair. Let the chair support you. Don't support yourself on the bed. Let the bed support you. Don't support yourself on the sofa. Let the sofa support you. Release, relax, and let go. You're in a very safe and secure place. You don't have to be holding on. Totally, just it's little tiny muscles. Just let them go, let them go, let them go. Now notice your breathing. Don't change your breathing. Notice your breathing. For your whole life, most of the time you've been breathing automatically. You've been letting yourself breathe. So here's a sentence that will help you relax and help you fall asleep. Don't breathe the air, let the air breathe you. Do not breathe the air, let the air breathe you. So it's sort of like you're taking a limo. You're not driving the car, somebody else is. So don't consciously breathe. Let the breathing take care of itself. What do you think what's happening when you're sleeping at night? So don't do it. Let it be done to you. Don't be active. Be passive. Just let it happen. So feel your body. Just relax and go deeper into the sofa and the bed or into the chair. And let the breathing happen more automatically. You're not in control. Something else is. Your subconscious is in control. So just release, relax, and let go. And number 5, relax your toes to your knees. Number 4, relax your knees to your waist. Number 3, relax your trunk, your stomach, your rib cage, your chest, your lower back, middle back, and upper back. Number 2, relax your arms, shoulders, biceps, triceps, forearms, wrists, fingers. Make believe all the tension in your arms is on a stream flowing from your shoulders, through your elbows, through your wrists, and out your fingers. And number 1, relax your neck and your head. Relax the front of your neck, the back of your neck. Relax your chin, your cheeks, your forehead, and your scalp. Relax all the muscles around your mouth, your nose, your eyes, and your ears. And if your eyes are open, you might want to close them. And you might find the more relaxed you become, the better you might feel. And the better you might feel, the more relaxed you might want to become. So the more relaxed you become, the better you might feel. And the better you might feel, the more relaxed you might want to become. And now notice your breathing. Don't change your breathing, just notice it. And how many parts of your breath are there? Most of my students say 2. Inhale and exhale. Well, that's true when you're exercising, but there are really 4. You inhale, there's a slight pause. You exhale, there's a slight pause. And then the cycle starts over again. Most people breathe about 17 to 20,000 times a day. The key to relaxation is in your breath, and it's in letting go. And if we could just learn these 2 skills today, you're going to be a more relaxed person. So just notice your breathing and just let go. Just release, relax, and let go. Realize you can't do it wrong unless you're doing it. Just try to, like an angel in the snow, you're lying on the beach, not in New Jersey, you're not. And you're releasing, relaxing, and letting go. And notice your breathing. And every time you're inhaling, you're taking fresh, clean, clear, relaxing energy into your body. And every time you're exhaling, you're letting go of physical, mental, or emotional stress. You're letting go of negative thoughts, upsetting feelings, or any tension in your body. So with every breath cycle, you're bringing in the good stuff and you're letting go of the bad stuff. You're bringing in the positive energy and you're letting go of the negative energy. So let's see if this makes it a little more powerful. As I mentioned before, a lot of people on the inside of their forehead, they have a movie screen. So on your movie screen, I want you to see big, beautiful waves, just like you were down in the shore and the tides coming in. And see if you could link these big, beautiful waves with your breathing. So as you're inhaling, the wave comes in and crashes. And as you exhale, the wave goes out to sea. And then after a slight pause, the next wave comes in and crashes. And then it goes out to sea. So what is the wave doing? The waves bringing fresh, clean, clear water into the shore. And after it crashes, it's taking any debris from the shore out to sea. Just like with your breath, as you're inhaling, you're bringing in fresh, clean, clear, relaxing energy into your system. And as you're exhaling, you're letting go of any negative energy, any physical, mental, or emotional stress. And you might find the more relaxed you become, the better you might feel. And the better you might feel, the more relaxed you might want to become. The more relaxed you become, the better you might feel. And the better you might feel, the more relaxed you might want to become. And now something's interesting is happening. Every wave is still coordinated with your breathing, but every wave is getting a little smaller than the one before it. It's still perfectly coordinated with your breathing. The waves are just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So as you inhale, the waves come in and crashes, and as you exhale, the wave goes out to sea. And this just might signal to you you're becoming more and more relaxed. And you might be realizing that the more relaxed you become, the better you might feel. And the better you might feel, the more relaxed you might want to become. And now the waves are getting so small that your screen is pretty much cleared up because the waves are in the very, very, very bottom of the screen. So let's use your screen. And before we talked about your imagination. So part of your imagination is your memory. So what I'd like you to do if you want to play this game is go back to a time in your life that you were very, very relaxed. It doesn't have to be the most. Just pick any time that you're relaxed. It could be yesterday, it could be a decade ago, it could be when you were a child. And go back and don't recall the memory, try to relive the memory. Go back and see what you saw and feel what you felt and hear what you heard. And whoever was with you before is with you again. So don't try to recall it, relive it, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And it's effortless. Memory is effortless. Recalling is effortless. Imagination is effortless. Taking good care of yourself by relaxing is effortless. Just give yourself the gift of getting out of your own way and releasing and relaxing and letting go. And go back and see what you saw and feel what you felt and hear what you heard. And now let that little video slowly, slowly, slowly come to a conclusion. And let's do one more. Go back to a time in your life you were having a lot of fun. It could be recent or a long time ago. And once again, it doesn't have to be the most fun you've ever had in your life, but once again, don't just recall it and relive it. And see what you saw, feel what you felt, and hear what you heard. And all the friends who were with you, they're with you right now. Because you know the secret. For short periods of time, your mind and body do not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And bring all those fun feelings back with you as the little video fades off your movie screen. So what we were just doing is you were using the power of your memory. And that was all in the past. And your imagination is much more powerful than your memory. And your imagination is just made up stuff. So why don't we make up stuff about the future? So what I'd like you to do is to create the most relaxing place you could possibly be in the world. It could be science fiction. And see what you want to see and feel what you want to feel and hear what you want to hear and whoever you want to be with, you're with. And just release, relax, and let go, and allow yourself to be in this relaxing situation. See what you want to see and feel what you want to feel and hear what you want to hear. And releasing and relaxing and letting go. And the more relaxed you become, the better you might feel. And the better you might feel, the more relaxed you might want to become. And now very slowly and very gently, allow those scenes to effortlessly leave your movie screen. And as they leave your movie screen, you notice that those little waves at the bottom of the screen are getting a little bigger now. And they're getting bigger and bigger. And every wave is getting a little bigger than the one before it. And now they're not coordinated with your breathing. And this is signaling you to come back to the present time and place. So the waves are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And in order to come back to the present, when we went into the relaxation, we counted from the numbers 5 to 1. Now we'll count from the numbers 1 to 5. Number 1, wiggle your toes and fingers. Number 2, move your head and neck from side to side. Number 3, stretch your body any way you want to stretch. Number 4, open your eyes. And number 5, come back to the present. Okay. So let me give you the relaxation test. So while we were doing the relaxation, did you hear my voice coming in and going out? Did you hear parts? And that shows that you were relaxing pretty well. Did any part of your body start twitching? Like your eyelids, your arms? I mean, there was just little twitches, and that shows you're releasing tension. Did you start snoring and fall asleep? That shows you were pretty relaxed. Now, if you started drooling, you were very, very, very relaxed, okay? Now, here's what I want you to know. Sometimes my students say something like, oh, I wish I could have you with me all the time when I need to relax. I didn't relax you. You relaxed yourself. That would be like saying that you're going from Montclair State down to South Jersey, and there are a lot of cops along the way. It's Memorial Day weekend. And when you get to South Jersey, you say, well, how was your ride? You say, well, the cops did a great job directing me. I couldn't do it without the cops. No, you drove the car. They just gave you directions. I just gave you directions. See, what they say in hypnosis is there's no hypnosis, it's just self-hypnosis. The hypnotist doesn't do it to you. You do it to yourself. I didn't relax you. You relaxed yourself. See, you have everything you need already inside you. You have all the biochemicals you need already inside you. And you have a big choice to make. Are you going to learn how to relax? Are you going to learn how to meditate? Or are you going to medicate? In our country, medication beats meditation every single day. And one of the reasons you might want to explore meditation or relaxation is because there are no side effects, no negative side effects. So you could either learn the skills for relaxation or take the pills that you have to take for stress reduction. So we have a lot more to talk about, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to take questions now. So Karen, can people actually talk when they ask questions?
They can't talk, but they can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of their screen.
I have a raised hand. What do I click on that?
Yes, actually, so one of the participants noted that they fell asleep during the exercise.
Okay. So are there any questions about anything about using these skills? So 2 participants raised hand. So I click on that?
So we have a question.
Okay, good.
Yes. How do you suggest approaching stress created from COVID-19?
Well, That's a big one. I live in Bloomfield, and where I get my gas, there's a guy named David who's my age. And I spoke to him the other day, and he said, this COVID thing is really, really getting to me. I said, what do you mean? He said, I was a paratrooper during Vietnam, and I was in war zones all the time. And I'm more nervous about COVID than I was about the Vietnam War, when I could have gotten killed every day. And, I could talk about, being proactive. If you do what you have to do, if you take the right precautions, you're going to be safe. If you're taking, but I guess in terms of the context of this, stress is stress and relaxation is relaxation. And one of the things I think maybe you consider doing is, just like you work out, just like you go for a walk, do some stress reduction exercises. The internet, if you want to spend some money, there's an app called Calm, C-A-L-M, that's fantastic. But I'll give you some things you could do. There are all sorts of people on the internet teaching stress for free. Anything that Dr. Richard Brown does, I've taken his workshops about 5 or 6 times, and he has some lectures on YouTube. The most relaxing music in the world is Pachelbel Canon in D. Just listening to that is relaxing. There are guided meditations where people do what I did with you. So I would say, probably the best or the most popular meditation is called Transcendental Meditation. And you do that 20 minutes before breakfast and 20 minutes before dinner. So I would just say build in, it's sort of like if you came across a person having a heart attack. You wouldn't say, hey, wait a second, let me take a CPR course and I'll get back to you and help you out. You have to learn CPR before you need it, so you could use it when you do need it. So I would say that starting right now, start doing something proactively, just relax. And once I went to a talk given by a psychiatrist, and he said, I'm going to give you the biggest stress reduction technique in the world. So he had my ears. He said, never worry alone. He said, no matter what is happening in your life, share it with somebody. This is one of the reasons why the 12-step groups, AA, OA, all these is so powerful, because you could download what's bothering you in an anonymous situation. So never worry alone is a very, very good technique. Journaling is a very, very good technique. Doing all these things with another person is a very, very good technique. So that's my best answer right here. Because can we change the situation? No. You might like the situation, you might hate the situation, but you can't change the situation. But you could change your response to the situation. That's why I feel the most powerful prayer in the world is the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity, the peacefulness to change the things I could change. As I mentioned, I'm 73. I can't change that. I could lie about it. I can't change that. I'm 5'7". I can't change that. My eyes are blue. I could change that. I weigh 230 pounds. I could change that. Okay. The courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's a very, very powerful prayer. So we're in the middle of this COVID epidemic, but here's one thing that I will predict for each and every one of us. I don't know what your age is, but sometime in the future, maybe in the distant future, you're going to be home. It might be a Sunday afternoon, a Saturday night, and your child or your grandchild, and they're going to be rummaging around in the cellar. And they're going to come up and say, Mommy, Daddy, Grandma, Grandpa, what's this? And they're going to be holding up a mask. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to smile. You're not going to go, oh my God, don't bring it. You're going to smile. You know why? Because you made it through. You survived. Mayor John Lindsay was mayor of New York in the 60s, I think. And once he was asked, as mayor, what was your greatest accomplishment? He said, just the fact I survived. Just the fact that we're surviving, that we made it this far, is a huge accomplishment. And if you want to get extra credit, what are you doing for others? I could almost cry. I've had letters from former students, and they say, Dr. Gilbert, I know you haven't heard from me in years, but is there anything I could do for you? I mean, imagine, is there anything they could do for me? That's so sweet. It's so kind. And so if you reach out to other people, because once you realize it's about others, that changes everything. You know, once you start worrying more about others than you're worrying about yourself, you're reducing stress. Okay?
Dr. Gilbert, we have a comment from Vanessa. She says, hello, Professor. I remember taking your class in 2015. Love this. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Vanessa.
And we also have a question, any tips for expectant moms during this time, especially to lower heart rate when stressed?
Well, let me, there's something called, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that. What do they call it? The Lamaze method for birth control? It's called Lamaze.
Lamaze is right when you're giving.
It's based on yoga breathing techniques. And so but one thing I do is I have one of these pulse monitors, and I actually do the breathing techniques while I have the pulse monitor on. And you actually see, it's like biofeedback. You see your pulse going down. So you can get one of these at CVS for about $24. They're called oximeters because it will also give you your oxygen saturation. But let me give you some techniques you could use just to lower your heart rate. And if you want to lower your heart rate pretty dramatically in a short period of time, especially if you feel stressed, it's called the 4-7-8 technique. You inhale through your nose to the count of 4. You hold your breath to the count of 7, and you exhale through your mouth till the count of 8. So inhale through your nose to the count of 4, hold your breath to the count of 7, and exhale through your mouth to the count of 8. So let's do it together. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale through your nose, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do it on your own. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Last one. Inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only do that 3 or 4 times. Never do that while you're driving. You might, if you did that and you've never done it before, you might feel a little disoriented now. That is a very, very powerful yogic breathing technique. Now, the only thing wrong with that technique is it wasn't customized to you. So you make your 4, 7, 8s because you don't want to be holding your breath or out of breath. So I might have done it too short or too long for you. But once again, relaxation, falling asleep is a skill, and it has to be practiced. So you could say, oh, I'm having a panic attack. What's that 4-7-8 technique? No, practice it now so you'll know it. So when you do have the panic attack, you could use it. Okay.
Doctor, we have another question. Do you still have the success hotline number?
Yep.
And if so, can I get it?
Hotline. I've been doing this since January 22nd, 1992, and the number is 973-743-4690. 973-743-4690. 973-743-4690. Now, I also have something called successhotlinepodcast.com. And if you go to successhotlinepodcast.com, and then you have to press more, you have to go down because there are hundreds and hundreds of messages. If you find message number 10,221, the next 35 messages, and all the messages are like 3 or 4 minutes, the next 3 or 4 messages are a whole relaxation seminar where we did a whole lot more than we did here today. So like from 10,221 to 10,246 or something like that. It will say relax number 1, relax number 2, relax number 3. So go in order, go from 1 to 2 to 36. Don't go from 36 to 1. So that's successhotlinepodcast.com. If you ever have any questions on anything with relaxation, stress reduction, feel free to call me or feel free to email me at gilbertr@montclair.edu. And I'd be most happy to help you any way you can.
Doctor, someone wants to know, can you repeat the kinds of music you recommend for stress reduction?
Well, you know what the best music is? The music that you like, the music that relaxes you. If you want me to give you an assignment, every day for the next 7 days, spend 10 or 15 minutes watching YouTube videos of funny movies, things you found funny in your life. And see, that's the whole thing. When you start practice laughing, and this is not funny stuff, this is serious stuff. If some of you took classes with me in the 80s and 90s, I used the same book in my yoga classes. It was The Anatomy of an Illness by Norman Cousins. And Norman Cousins was not a wacko guy. He didn't write for the National Enquirer. He was a very well-respected journalist. Well, he went for an assignment to Russia, and he came back with this serious disease. He ingested some sort of poisons, and he breathed them into his system, and he was on the way out. They said the chances of him living were 1 out of 200. Well, he's in the hospital, and he's in utter pain. And his doctor said, Norman, you have 1 of 2 choices. We could drug you into unconsciousness, or you'll live with the pain. He said, well, I'll live with the pain. And then one day, one of his friends, and some of you remember his friend, Alan Funt. Remember Alan Funt from Candid Camera? He came. Now, this is back in the 60s. This is before the internet. So Alan set up a projector, set up a screen, and he started showing Norman Cousins, Three Stooges, Marx Brothers, Candid Camera footage. And Norman started laughing. And then as soon as the doctors and the administrators heard what was happening, they throw Alan Funt out of the hospital. And then Norman realized something. Wait a second, I'm not in pain. So he had like a half an hour of laughing, and he had a few minutes of pain-free relief for the first time in months. So he checks out of the hospital, goes to a motel, gets in touch with Alan Funt, who gets him all this footage, all these movies, and he starts watching these movies, and he cured himself. And not only did he cure himself, he started a whole new field called psychoneuroimmunology. Psycho, mind, neuro, nervous system, immune system. So our feelings affect our health. Just like we said, psychosomatic disease, your mind can make you sick or your mind can make you well. So I guess my best comment is to find what works. I like Pachelbel, Canon, and D, Pachelbel. And there are hundreds on the internet, on YouTube. I mean, there are 3-hour segments, there are 10-minute segments, there's pianos, there's violas, there's everything. I just like that music very, very much.
Another question.
Well, let me just give the sleep technique. And one person called my hotline one day and told me this technique for falling asleep. And over the years, hundreds of my students have said this has been the secret to helping them fall asleep. So once again, when you're lying in bed and you can't fall asleep, remember the difference between letting and making. You cannot make yourself fall asleep. You can let it happen. Just release, relax, and let go, and let it happen naturally. Realize it's effortless. And here's the technique. You inhale and open your eyes, exhale and close your eyes, and say the number 30. Now, if you're all alone, you do it out loud. If you're not alone, you do it not out loud. Inhale, open your eyes, exhale, close your eyes, say the number 29. Inhale, open your eyes, exhale, close your eyes, say the number 28. Inhale, open your eyes. Exhale, close your eyes. Say the number 27. Inhale, open your eyes. Exhale, close your eyes. Say the number 26. Inhale, open your eyes. Exhale, close your eyes. Say the number 25. You see, this isn't going to change. But when you get about number 25, you're going to say, like, I don't want to keep telling myself to inhale and exhale, so don't. Then you'll get down to 20, 19, 18, and you're going to say, I don't want to keep opening and closing my eyes, so don't. And then you get to 11, 10, 9, you say, I don't want to keep telling myself to inhale and exhale, so don't. And then when you get to 5, 4 to 3, and you say, I don't want to be awake anymore, so you'll just drift off to sleep. Now, this is something you practice. It's effortless. You let it happen. Now, if you go from 30 to 1 and you're still awake, go from 40 to 1. Go from 50 to 1. This will work a lot better than what most people do when they can't fall asleep. What do? They watch TV, they get on the internet, they read a book, they listen to the radio. The internet, radio, TV, and the book, those are all forms of entertainment. You know, Johnny Carson, remember Johnny Carson? He was not paid to keep you up. He was not paid to put you to sleep. He was paid to keep you up. And Jimmy Fallon is being paid for the same thing. So this is a boredom technique. I'm sure when you were at Montclair State, there were some boring teachers that put you to sleep at 12 noon. Well, if they could put you to sleep at 12 noon, they could put you to sleep at 12 midnight. See, here's the most important thing I'm going to say. Everything you need is already inside you. You have all the biochemicals. You are not lacking them. You're blocking them. And you're blocking them by your belief system. Oh, I'm an insomniac. No, you're not an insomniac. You're just a person that hasn't learned how to fall asleep. Oh, I'm an anxious person. You're not an anxious person. You're a person that hasn't learned how to relax. My favorite word in the whole world is the word train. You could train yourself to do anything, or somebody else could train you. So I don't know why there isn't a whole group of relaxation and sleep trainers in the country that will teach you. See, what I'm talking about today, and I'm very happy to do this, and don't misinterpret this, third grade teachers should be doing this. Second grade teachers should be talking about the difference between making and letting. You know, we should be talking about using breath to relax in all of our classes. And if you're anything like me, I had it in none of my classes. Now I teach it in all of my classes. Okay.
Next question. How do you help your spouse or loved ones get through these hard times, especially if you're handling it better than them?
Well, since I don't have a spouse, I really don't know the answer to that. Well, there's something called empathy. And there is nothing that helps a person get through hard times than when people, that they know that people have their back, that people are on their side. And, just, I'm here to help you. And if you could get the person interested in, exploring, like if you want to read a book, if you don't want to take the Transcendental Meditation course, which is $500, and I think you could take it in Ramsey, New Jersey, you could buy the book, The Relaxation Response, where they'll give you the whole technique, The Relaxation Response by Herbert Benson. So in my relaxation and stress reduction course this past semester, one of the questions on the final exam is, what is the one most important thing Dr. Gilbert wants you to know about stress? And the one most important thing I want you to know about stress is this. There's a built-in stress response. This is how we evolved. And so when you see a zebra on the savannah and a lion's chasing the zebra, the stress response kicks in, and the zebra could run faster and outrun the lion. And in 3 minutes, either it's over, the zebra escapes, or you're over. The lion catches you. See, the difference between zebras and people is we activate the stress response when we're waiting for a bus. We activate the stress response before we have to give a talk in class. That's not life-changing. We've misinterpreted what life-threatening, it's not life-threatening, what's life-threatening is. So Dr. Robert Sapolsky, I stole all that information from his book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. So we have a built-in stress response, and we're overusing it. Now, we also have a built-in relaxation response, and we're underusing that. So suppose, you're trapped in your house and you get a dumbbell, and every day you just do curls with your dumbbell with your right hand. your right arm, I should say, and you do 50 or 100 every day. And in the last couple of months, you have this huge right bicep and your left arm is not developed at all. The analogy I'm trying to make, we overuse our stress response. We have this huge stress response and we underuse our relaxation response. We have to start practicing because it's a learned skill. Okay?
Doctor, another question. One good thing about the pandemic is that people are actually getting more sleep and some are less stressed. How do we keep that up once we return to normal?
Well, just figure out what's working for you. Figure out when you're going to sleep, what your rituals are. And hopefully, you know, if your job was from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and right now you're free during the day, you might not be able to replicate, but just find out what's working for you and keep doing it. You know, what are the things that are making you feel good about yourself, and just keep doing them. Basically, do more of what works, do less of what doesn't work, and then constantly be testing out things to see if they work or don't work, to see which category they go in. And I'd like to say, though, these relaxation techniques I'm talking about, these are just not some weird yoga teacher from India. I mean, these techniques have been around for thousands and thousands of years. They work, you know, they really, really do. Now, they might not work immediately. You say, well, he did on this seminar, he did this 4-7-8 technique. I didn't feel anything. Well, you know, just like if you did a push-up, you're not going to feel anything either. But once you practice it, there will be a long-term effect.
So the next question, how can I learn to be more patient?
I could tell you how you can become rich. Learn how to become more patient and write the book, you know? Well, I teach yoga. And basically, there are millions of types of yoga around. But basically, all yoga is about one thing, learning how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So when you're in a yoga pose, whether it's a forward bend or one of these weird twists, you want to do it so you're uncomfortable, but you want to be able to be comfortable being uncomfortable. This is a secret to dieting. You have to, it doesn't, all diets work. All diets work for someone, you know, and every diet works, but no diet works for everybody. But the whole thing is, how do you deal with the feelings of hunger? Can you deal with being comfortable, being uncomfortable? So, you know, train yourself to be more patient. You know, you might want to be patient for 5 seconds and 10 seconds and 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but see this as a game, see it as something you're training yourself to do. And you are trainable, but you are going to feel uncomfortable, but the uncomfortableness is a growing process. It's not bad, it's good.
One of our participants asked if you can repeat the name of the doctor for relaxation techniques on YouTube.
Dr. Herbert Benson, B-E-N-S-O-N. And, you know, he's all over YouTube. You could buy his book, The Relaxation Response, Beyond the Relaxation Response. He's tested these monks, and he has data. He's from Harvard Medical School. He has data, he has published data on how this stuff works. There is a built-in relaxation response that you can learn how to activate.
Any tips for incorporating these techniques in the midst of a normal workday?
Yeah, the great thing about using these in a normal workday is nobody has to know you're doing it. You know, nobody has to know you're meditating. Here's a video I show in class. Go on YouTube and watch how to be 10% happier. How to be 10% happier. It's like a 14-minute video, and it's about a guy on Good Morning America named Dan Harris, and he was on all the time. He was a regular, and one day he has a panic attack right on TV. Now, the backstory was he was just strung out, bring the candle at both ends, doing cocaine. He has a panic attack on TV. So that led him on a search, yoga, meditation. He tried all these different things, and the thing that made him 10% happier was meditation. And on that 14-minute video, he will tell you in 30 seconds how he meditates and how much it's helped him. So it's also a book, How to Be 10% Happier. But the video, the 14-minute video, is fabulous.
Valerie asks if you can complete or repeat the comment, you're not an insomniac, you're not an anxious person, you're just...
You're not an insomniac. You're just a person that hasn't learned how to fall asleep. You're not an anxious person. You're just a person that hasn't learned how to relax. So I said my favorite word is the word trained. You could be trained to do anything. If we had more time, I could do memorization exercises with you, especially those of you that think you have a lousy memory. And all of a sudden, you're remembering a long series of numbers. You remember a long series of words. You have a great memory, potentially, but your memory is untrained. So the other day in class, I asked my students, how many of you have great memories? And 3 or 4 said, great, they did. 8 or 10 said they had terrible memories, and everybody else, they had average memories. So my comment was, nobody here has a great memory. Nobody here has a terrible memory. You either have a trained memory or an untrained memory. And see, training that's where it all begins. Once you realize that all the ability, healing ability, relaxation ability, music ability, see, nobody is not musical. They're just not trained yet. Nobody's not athletic. They just haven't had good coaches. And I think that's important. I mean, I base my whole life on that. That's what I teach. Basically, I teach everybody has the ability and all you're lacking is a strategy.
Doctor, our last question, how is emotional intelligence important at this moment and in our life overall?
You know, there was an emotional intelligence talk given yesterday and I missed it. I wanted to go to it. Emotional intelligence is just important stuff. Finally, just like finally they're teaching relaxation, finally we're teaching how to be happier. So for years and years, psychologists were studying divorce. Now they're studying happy marriages. You know, for years and years, people were talking about all these stress-related diseases. Now we're talking about optimization, like people who are joyous. So the more you could learn about, you know, positive emotions and emotional intelligence, and Dan Goleman is the one that coined the term Goleman. But the names is eluding me, but the woman that wrote the book on grit, the woman from the University of Pennsylvania, just go to her TED Talk on grit, G-R-I-T. Just put TED Talk grit, and her name is not coming to me, but it should. Could I just, we talked about how to relax. Let me talk about how to get stressed, okay? If you want to stress yourself out, there are 14 killer words. The words are, this is it, it's now or never, it's do or die, and there's no tomorrow. See, everything in your life is important, but as soon as you make it special, this is it, it's now or never, it's do or die, as soon as you make that event special, whether it's a date or you have to see your boss or it's an exam or an interview, these words are killer words. This is it, it's now or never, it's do or die, there's no tomorrow. You know, you're activating the stress response. This is not it. It is not do or die, you know, but we over-activate ourselves. So one of the things is you want to care, but you don't want to care too much.
Doctor, those are all the questions we have.
Okay. So how much time do we have left?
We're at just past the top of the hour. So if you'd like to close the program.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, let me end with a story. There are these group of penguins on the South Pole, and they had a meeting one day, and they said, how come of all the birds in the world, we're the only birds that have wings and we can't fly? So they were starting to get belligerent about this, and they were going to get angry at God. But one of them said, hey, there must be a solution. There must be a strategy. So they got on the internet, and they found this motivational speaker in Texas, and he was running seminars for pigs, and he was teaching pigs to fly. So they got in touch with him, and he came down to the South Pole, and all he needed was one day to teach him. He guaranteed they'd learn how to fly. So they had 200 penguins there on a Saturday, and the seminar was going to go from 9 to 5. And when they came in at 9 in the morning, everything was set up classroom style. They had notebooks, pens, paper, and all morning he talked about the psychology of belief and the physics of flying. And all morning he's talking about physics formulas and all these psychological theories. And by noon, everybody was bored out of their mind. As a matter of fact, after the lunch break, only 100 of them came back. Well, when they came back, there were no more tables and chairs. There were these 10-foot high step ladders. He said, okay, Now we're going to put theory into practice. Get on rung number 1, and I want you to flap harder and believe more. Flap harder, believe more, and jump. Flap harder, believe more, and jump. So all the penguins, you know, did as they were told, flap harder, believe more, and jump. Then everybody just fell straight down. Then after about 10 or 15 minutes on rung 1, they got to rung 2. Rung 2, flap harder, believe more, and jump, and they just fell down. So as the afternoon went along, every 10 or 15 minutes, they went up another rung, and he was just adamant. Flap harder, believe more, and jump. Flap harder, believe more, and jump. Flap harder, believe more, and jump. Now, when they got up to rung 7 and 8, now they're getting hurt. They're twisting their ankles. They're breaking their beaks. You know, it was an ugly scene. So now it's about 20 minutes before 5, 20 minutes before the seminar ends, and we're on the 9th rung. And he's adamant, flap harder, believe more, jump. Flap harder, believe more, and jump. And they're all on their backs, getting up again. And somebody yelled out, hey, look at Ralph. Look at Ralph. Ralph's in the corner. And Ralph was flying. And not only was flying, he came into a nice soft landing. And then within a few minutes after they saw Ralph do it, everybody was doing it. And they were flying upside down, right side up. They were doing Blue Angel stuff. They were all over the place. As a matter of fact, when the seminar ended at 5, they gave the seminar leader not a standing ovation, they gave him a flying ovation. Now, at the end of the seminar, when the seminar was over, the most amazing thing happened. I have to repeat that. When the seminar was over, the most amazing thing happened. Every single one of those penguins who learned how to fly walked home. Every single one of those penguins walked home. What's the moral of that story? K minus A equals 0. If you know what to do, but you don't do what you know, it doesn't matter that you know what to do. K minus A equals 0. Knowledge minus action is nothing. So we gave you some techniques, and the most important thing I said today is you have to practice this stuff and just get interested, because there are these wonderful biochemicals in your body. You're not lacking them, you're blocking them. And by using the right breathing technique, the right relaxation technique, the right mental set, you know, you could relax, you could become a world-class relaxer. And that will be so much fun because you would have done it to yourself. So any stress you do to yourself, people are not stressing you out, you're stressing yourself out. And the relaxation, you could learn how to do this. So once again, I know we're out of time. My email address is gilbertr@montclair.edu. Anything in relation to this, I would be most happy to help you.
Thank you, Doctor. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed the program. And before we sign off, alumni, I just want to encourage you, stay connected. You'll receive invitations to events and webinars like this. And look for that invitation for the Montclair Connect online community. So thank you again for joining us, and to you and your families, stay well. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.